Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another crypto video. And today, I'm giving you guys an overview of Stellar XLM. As you guys probably know, I've shared info about this crypto pretty often on the channel, but it's been a good while since I explained to you guys how excited I am about the project and kind of why I'm so excited about the project. It's a crypto I buy pretty often, and so I thought it was due to give everybody a quick introduction and a quick glimpse of my expectations for this project. Understand this is just my personal opinion, and in no way, shape, or form is this financial advice for you. I'm just explaining my thoughts. Now, the actual reason I thought about this was because I saw this article right here. Stellar XLM Price Prediction 2025 to 2030. Will the alt go as high as $200 by 2030? And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of caught me off guard. I did not expect somebody to ask the question of whether or not Stellar could go to a couple $100, because as it currently stands, the XLM price is, if I'm not mistaken, 11 cents right now. Yes, we can see it right there. It is right now at roughly 11 cents. So to then ask about a couple $100 is kind of crazy to me. Or is it? I'd say let's discuss in this video a little bit about what Stellar is about, and then we'll talk about what I think in terms of price predictions. Before we do that though, guys, I want to tell you I'm doing a $10,000 giveaway in about 2 weeks. Of course, from the time of recording this video. If you've not entered it yet, there's going to be a link down below, so go ahead and check it out. To give a good overview of Stellar XLM, I think one of the easiest things that we could do is just take a look at the most, prominent page for people finding Stellar. Most likely it is going to be CoinMarketCap. And I decided to highlight a couple of parts here of the story of what it is that I think you guys will enjoy the most and that is most critical to understanding this wonderful crypto. Stellar XLM, what is it? Now, Stellar XLM is a peer-to-peer decentralized network created in 2014 by the Stellar Development Foundation, or Stellar.org. And simply put, it's an open network that allows money to be moved and stored. When it was released in July 2014, one of its goals was boosting financial inclusion by reaching the world's unbanked, but soon afterwards, its priorities shifted to helping financial firms connect with one another through blockchain tech. And again, the long story is the network officially launched in 2015 with the purpose of connecting the world's financial systems and ensuring a protocol for payment providers and financial institutions. The platform is designed to move financial resources swiftly and reliably at minimal cost, and Stellar links people, banks, payment processors, and allows users to create, send, and trade multiple types of crypto. The basis of the network is its native digital currency XLM, which is the currency that we often talk about, right? Again, you got to understand Stellar has a couple of different parts. You have a couple of organizations above it, and then you have this XLM currency. XLM acts as an intermediate currency for operations and is also used to pay transaction fees. How it works? The protocol converts money in a few seconds, first into XLM and then into the requested currency. And so I see you guys watching this or listening to this and potentially thinking, hey, this does look a lot like another crypto I know, namely XRP. And the reason that you might believe so is because indeed they are very much similar. Now, the reason for that is that the founder of Stellar, who's Jed McCaleb, was actually also one of the co-founders of the XRP Ledger and of Ripple. And he actually, again, left Ripple in 2013 over some disagreements about the company's future direction. He then went on to start Stellar, obviously, a year later. And that's, at the end of the day, why these two things look so alike. They still have some sort of similar vision, but it's slightly different from Ripple's. That's why he left. The Stellar payment protocol is based on DLT, Distributed Ledger Technology, an open source development community owned and distributed by community, and the crypto asset of the Stellar platform helps with cross-border transactions, overcome the problem of high fees and slow procedures, and XLM is more focused on assisting individuals transfer money than they are with institutions, which is also one of the key differences between Ripple, as they are more focused on institutions and the bigger banks doing this. They're more focused on the peer-to-peer. Thus, Stellar offers access to financial systems, and people can send money at low cost and promptly around the world. And actually, if you take a look, for example, at Stellar partnerships, you'll most likely start to notice as well that they've got a couple of the ones that Ripple had before, for example, MoneyGram, but in the end of the day, or at the end of the day, they're doing quite a lot in terms of all the connections. Here are projects and partners that they've got. Yeah, Stellar is actually developing quite nicely, all right? They're broadening out. A lot of these are just exchanges, for example, I personally use Bybit to actually buy my XLM. A link for Bybit is surely going to be down below as well. And a couple of partnerships like Circle are, for example, because they issue USDC over on the Stellar network. You can see here, Stellar USDC is how they work with that. But you can see a little bit more like Click2Go, ecosystem that connects farmers to agro input providers through an online marketplace, payments, and delivery of products. And the connection that they have is because this is an application. There's actually a lot of these over in the list if you go ahead and look. And yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that the Stellar network is actually quite sophisticated already. It's not a new network or so they've been building out for a long time. However, since it's more focused on the payment side, it's less of a platformer. But they do a pretty good job specifically with USDC, which I would say is what it's most known for. But the list goes on for quite a while, as you guys most likely can imagine. Continuing on, the target audience of Stellar is the inhabitants of developing countries. Ordinary users who are provided access to the global economy through fast, simple, and inexpensive transactions. The Stellar network makes extensive use of lumens to produce live convection, as well as to send cash in multiple currencies. Currency is sent from one peer, and the recipient can receive the amount in another currency. This feature is beneficial when a transaction is made between currencies without widely traded pairs. Support for multi-currency transactions is another competitive advantage of Stellar, and the ability for cross-currency transactions has only enhanced processes with foreign operations. Moreover, stable speed and low transaction costs are a privilege that users receive. This functionality is powered by a development called Anchors, which is a bridge between different currencies and the network, which simplifies the exchange within the network and helps speed up the whole process. Now, let's also do a quick little summary. It's actually written here in 4 points, and they are: simplicity, decentralization, high speed of transfers and transaction confirmation, so basically just really fast, and low translation cost compared to alternative methods. Stellar blockchain has an annual inflation rate of 1%, which is a fixed amount. Now, and this is what we read before as well, the put simply, which is basically just a small little overview of what Stellar is about in one liner, and we said that at the start. There's a couple other questions you might have, like for example, how many Stellar are in circulation? Well, there used to be a really huge amount. Basically the same as what Ripple had. But Stellar decided to go for a crazy burn of roughly half the supply. As they said, the majority of the lumens weren't going to increase the adoption of Stellar, so they wanted to get rid of it, which is an interesting approach to do things. But yeah, a lot of people were very excited about that in the past, even though it did not pump the price by too much. Let's talk a little bit more about the numbers. Stellar org killing it in the second quarter, as apparently they've increased drastically over this quarter. You guys can't see it perfectly, but most likely okay enough. This is from the Stellar Development Foundation, one of the spearheads above, obviously, this Lumens, this XLM token, or coin, I should say. So you can see here, increased scalability and network innovation, what they set out to do. Total accounts increased by 30%. Total payments increased by 400% year over year. Average daily DEX volume on XLM increased by 166%, and total operations increased by 88%. In, again, comparing it to Q2 of 2021 and Q2 of this year, that's a very drastic increase for only 1 year, right? So that is obviously a very good thing that's going on with XLM. Also, I think I'm not doing the partnership enough justice by not going deep enough into them, but I think this is just something you're going to have to explore for yourself. Just kind of scroll through, for example, a partnership list that Stellar has, and as I was trying to say, just look for yourself through the list of partnership that Stellar has, as I'm not doing enough justice. They have a couple of really crazy ones out there. For example, the fact that the Ukrainian government has picked Stellar Development Fund to digitize their currency as a CBDC. A memorandum of understanding has already been signed between both parties, and if you just start to think about that, that's huge. Again, you got to understand there's sometimes a difference between Stellar and the spearheads or the upper companies, and of course XLM, the currency. However, I've described before, very often, whatever is happening on the upper layers is kind of translated over into the lower ends. And I'm always excited about that, I guess. To then come back onto our point, right? Stellar price prediction, 2025. Will the altcoin go as high as $200 by 2030? It's a good question, and my own answer is, you can never really know. The same thing kind of goes for XRP. $300, $200, that is just way too high of a prediction to make to basically say that with any certainty, all right? If we're talking about 2025, that's now only 2.5 years away. In that time, things can really change, but I honestly don't see the price changing more than, for example, let's say 20 times the all-time high, which is already relatively high. The all-time high for Stellar is, let's say, about $1. And if we take $1 times 20, $20. But then over the next 5 more years. That's where things kind of get crazy. If you look back for example, Bitcoin or any currency actually, just any currency whatsoever in the crypto space, it's roughly, let's say, 13 years old. If we look back, as of this point, 8 years ago for Bitcoin. So right now we're 2022, look back to 2014, it went from $400 to where it is today. If we then look 8 years into the future, obviously nobody in 2014 expected Bitcoin to hit $70,000 at some point. And as it currently stands as well, you can't really look into the future and think, okay, we're going to, for example, have the gains that we saw within this time period. You can't really expect that because as it currently stands, it sounds as if that is too much money. That is too crazy. And of course, the earlier of an adoption you have, the easier it is to gain. The further you go, the harder it'll be because drastically, you're going to need, relatively, you're going to need a lot more money. Even though the percentage gains is the same, the amount of money changes by a lot more. So is it possible? Is it feasible? I would say sure, as there's no literal max, specifically as this is an intermediary currency for the most part, of which a lot of it is controlled by the foundation. There's quite a lot of potential for the price to go relatively high. There's also a fixed supply, which helps for regulating the price. But on the basis of, can we expect it to go to $200? This is my own expectation. As I said, no. For my own expectations, I'm actually keeping the price prediction for right now rather conservative. I think honestly that Stellar XLM can indeed come back into the top 10 or close to the top 10 as they've fallen off drastically. Right now they're number 28 at roughly $2.8 billion. I think they could come back, let's say, into the top 10 or close to it, which as of this point is a 5x, placing Stellar at roughly 50 cents. But you gotta understand something very important as well. The moment that the Ripple lawsuit is over, which has to do with this XRP right here, since they are so similar, there's a good chance that if this lawsuit is over and XRP wins and the XP price goes ballistic, that Stellar is going to enjoy a lot of those benefits too and actually prosper like crazy off of it. For that reason, I'm expecting about $3 to $4 per XLM, but it's basically going to depend on the general flow of the cryptocurrency market. In the near term here, even though I guess projects on Stellar are doing quite well, there's not any crazy news for Stellar that needs to be covered right now that's going to make it pump like crazy over the next couple of weeks or so that I know about. And for that reason, I'd say the most craziest of gains will most likely flow out of another project prospering, in this case here XRP. And my conservative price prediction for the near term is a couple dollars per Stellar, which is relatively low for where I think it's eventually going to go, but it's not as high as the $200 that they put up here at the start. So again, can it happen? Certainly. Should we expect that to happen? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, nobody can really expect anything from 2030 because, well, most likely even a coin flip I think will be better than trying to predict the 2030 price. These guys are saying as CBDCs over on Stellar are going to keep increasing and keep growing, this will become more and more important. Basically the price of this coin is likely to increase. That's the narrative of it. To a certain degree, he's not wrong. But I guess to a similar degree as with Ripple, people question exactly why the coin should go up if things increase on the Stellar side as the company, not the coin on its own. But yeah, that was it for today's little update, guys. Again, I'm very bullish on this crypto, which is why I buy more all the time. Maybe a little bit more conservative than the price prediction right here, but I'm excited about it nonetheless. And that was it for today's video. Make sure you join my $10,000 giveaway at the start. If you enjoyed these things, make sure you press that like button and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you're looking for a platform to trade, I've listed a couple of exchanges to buy Stellar down below. Check those out. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video.